All right, godlings, let's expound on the last video. I just couldn't include it because so here, let's expound on my last video about having commonality with animals. Now, okay, first of all, let's look at me, right? Now, I know a lot of people, you say, oh, he's a crazy man. He doesn't know shit. Well, maybe not, but you know what? I did the work. I went to college. I studied psychology. And yes, a lot of that psychology, especially behavior modification, transfers over to animals because we're animals too. Now, they respond differently than we do to different things, right? Because animals don't give two shits about Taylor Swift, all right, for one. So that's big difference, right? Animals mostly don't respond to symbols like we do. So we're controlled by a lot of symbols, whereas the animals aren't, right? But they still feel. They still have empathy. They still have the same energy that infests us, right? The same energy that runs through our brains and infests us is inside of them. So you trace that back to that energy, and guess what? It all comes from probably the same place, right? But that goes more into spiritual than psychological shit. But I will tell you this. So, like I said, I worked with animals in a high, very high energy environment. It was very restrictive for them. They were being given up for one reason or another. Sometimes it's because their owners died, right? Some of it because their owners couldn't take care of them anymore. So they're stuck here. But anyway, animals have empathy. That's for sure, right? Like, how many stories do we have of, like, if you're sad and your dog or your cat comes and sits by you to comfort you? And I remember seeing that. I remember seeing dogs and cats, and I remember seeing a dog a couple times going and comfort another one. I said, I've never seen this before, because I was always led to believe that animals were different than people, that they're barbarians, that they don't have feelings. But let me tell you, they do have feelings. They know when you're upset. They know when you're mad at them, because a lot of them. Some of them are just like, just like people are like, I did that, or whatever, But there's all sorts of different levels, right? You got some dumb animals, but just like people. But a lot of them are really smarter than we know. But they do have that empathy. They absolutely do. Now, reptiles are a little different. They really don't have that maternal instinct, right? Reptiles are different. Reptiles, but the cats and dogs have that mammalian brain, it's called, right? It's over top of the reptilian brain. But they have that empathy. They have that soul to them that we have, Animals are not that far removed. But anyway, let's go back, okay? Now, people can say, oh, I'm crazy. I'm just a dumb fuck that does no shit. And you can say that, but I will tell you that I went through college, okay? I studied a lot of psychology on my own before I went to college. And then when I went to college, I was prepared already. And I went through behavior modification, Psych 101 first, twice, actually. I went through Psych 101 twice because the first time I went through it was in high school, okay? And it'd been years since I had it, so it was good for me to take it a second time. I couldn't use it in college because I didn't pay for it. That's the only difference. I didn't pay for it. They said, oh, you can't use the credits because you didn't pay for it. All right, whatever. So I just skated that class because I already knew the information, right? But anyway, so I went through Psych 101, behavior modification, child development, and then I ended up studying in for my bachelor's degree, a little higher psychology and shit. Okay? So then, I went and worked in the environment that the animals were in. First in a high-stress environment as a shelter, and then with daycare. And I found, of course, in daycare, like I said, they were much more relaxed, And a lot of them in the shelter, we made sure they were relaxed, but they're still locked up, man. It's crazy, messed up, but still, it's where they were. But still, I seen some things out of them that I was taught didn't exist at all. Okay, but I seen it, and people try to disagree with me. I brought it up a couple times, and it's funny how people just immediately discarded that idea from me. Because, oh, okay, I'm a dumbass. I'm Tim Hall. He don't know shit, right? But I noticed like two things. One, in the one shelter, actually, okay, so in the one shelter, the high stress environment, I seen one pretty much comforting another one. And I went and told someone, I said, hey, check this out. I saw this, you know. He's like, I highly doubt they think that way. Whatever. I know what I saw. I know what I saw. And the dog was clearly comforting the other one. Okay? That it was comforting the other one. I could see that. And then the other one, this dog had been there forever. Elgin? I can't remember, but he's a nice old dog, a big old black lab. He had been there for over a fucking year. And the reason why he was over there a year, because a lot of people don't want to adopt older dogs, but he he was the sweetest motherfucker ever, okay? But when he was going home, it was like he knew. He was like, I'm ready. It was like he knew, but it was just a feeling inside me. But I'd worked with this guy for a long time too. It was a feeling inside me, and so it's like, well, that's just anthropomorphizing it, you know. That's just putting human stuff on it. I was like, okay, whatever, you know. I just, you know, I brought it up, and if someone wants to disagree with me, they can, you know, whatever. But I knew different. I knew what I saw. I knew what I felt. Okay, because with working with these animals, you can't just use logic, okay? You can't just use logic on everything. Because with animals, it's more of a feeling, you know? It's empathy, feeling. And you get to work, when you work with them, you know them. You see the look in their eyes. You know when they're happy. You know when they're sad. They have the same emotions as us. And then it was funny because I seen that in the shelter environment where the dog was calming down the other one. At first, I wasn't sure what I was seeing because I was convinced that animals were like humans. But then I seen it again in the doggy daycare environment where a dog was clearly trying to calm down the other one. Maybe he's just trying to calm down himself. But it wasn't... It was clearly an empathic move. The dog was clearly, because they were from the same, I found out those two dogs, they were from the same home, right? So they knew each other, right? They knew me because I was working there, but they knew each other. And they're, because the other one seemed to be uptight, but then the other one calmed down because the other one was right there. Hey, I seen it. I seen it. But it's funny because everybody will say what they want. So my credentials are that I studied in college. I passed. I didn't just have someone cover for me and give me A's by being someone or knowing someone. Okay, I worked my ass off and I got more than C's. Okay, but I earned what I got. I learned it. And I applied it, and I paid attention, okay? And I didn't just go to college and study this shit. I've studied this shit on my own. It's my hobby. But everybody wants to dismiss that. And that's okay. People are scared of that. They're really scared of that. Yeah. But whatever. But anywho, animals and humans, guess what? Humans are animals too. Sorry, but yeah, humans are animals too. And but let me tell you, man, they're not this. What we need to figure out as humans, is what we have in common with animals, not what we have in dissimilar, especially between all of us. right? They want to make it seem, oh, you're unique just like everybody else. No, bullshit. Guess what? You're programmed just like everybody else, right? So they have a set limit of parameters of programs, and you got one, okay? You got a program. When you really look at it overall, there's a set limit of number of programs and people that follow that program, all right? Animals don't necessarily have a program as much, anyway. But we aren't all dissimilar either, you know. They have all this hype about HIPAA, privacy laws. Okay, I get it. But that's one thing, personally, I've never understood about life and about people. It's like, why do we got to be so silent about everything? Why can't we talk about shit? Well, they don't want us to talk about it, okay? They don't want us to know how similar we are. Because it's like, okay, well, I can understand that. You know, okay, so HIPAA law says that, well, you can't, if you're my doctor, you can't tell them about my fucking warts on my dick. So what? Guess what? A lot of other people have fucking genital warts too. Or the next door neighbor has problems with the same goddamn bullshit as you. Oh, I have irritable bowel syndrome too. They don't want us to compare notes. Okay, they don't want us to compare notes. It's like, I have irritable bowel syndrome. I don't have it, but anyway. So what if you do? Like, I have something wrong with me. Oh my God, I don't want anybody to know. Well, guess what? The neighbor down the street has the same goddamn thing. There's a bunch of people that live down the street that have the same goddamn thing as you going on. Okay? The reason why they don't want us to talk about this is because they're causing it. They don't want us to know. And this is bullshit. And I'm looking forward, because supposedly what's supposed to happen is that things are coming out that's going to let everybody know this. And I really hope that's the case and it's not just all fluff, okay? But in the least, hey, I'm here the one to tell you, you know, okay? But in the least, that's my story, godlings, and I'm sticking to it. But no, seriously, I mean, everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy and nuts and stuff, and maybe I am, but I've done my work, I've done my studying. I didn't just skate by on C's, and I didn't have someone cover for me and give me a 4.0 because of who I knew, okay? I did the work, I did the studying, and I apply it in my everyday life. And if you haven't done that, then, well, I guess you can disagree with me all you want, but go find out for yourself. Do the studies for yourself and find out. Otherwise, you don't know. You know, because I can tell you anything. But I'm telling you that if you go do that, you'll find out. Okay?